Welcome and thank you for participating in today's meeting for the South Coast Air Quality Management District. If attending in person, please do not connect to Zoom or teleconference while in the room. To prevent disruptions, please silence all devices. All participants on Zoom, except for board members and South Coast AQMD staff, will be placed on mute. You will not be able to mute or unmute your line manually. After each agenda item, public comment will be taken. If you are participating in person and wish to comment, please use the iPads which are located in the lobby if the meeting is in the auditorium. For meetings in other locations, please complete a blue speaker card and provide the card to a South Coast AQMD employee. If you are participating on Zoom and wish to comment, please click on the Raise Hand button. If you're participating by phone and wish to comment, please dial *9. When it is your turn to speak, your name will be called. For phone participants, your name or part of your phone number will be called when it is your turn, and the host will unmute your line. Speakers may be limited to a total of 3 minutes or less for all items on the agenda. Following the meeting agenda items, a general public comment period is allowed to provide the public an opportunity to speak on any items not on the agenda. During the general public comment period, speakers may be limited to 3 minutes or less. The amount of time to comment may be shortened to ensure all speakers can be heard. A countdown timer will be displayed on the screen for each public comment. For questions or issues related to making public comment, please call the public advisor at 909-396-3247. That's 909-396-3247. In terms of decorum, if this meeting is taking place in the auditorium, no food or beverages are allowed in the auditorium. In accordance with state and local public health department guidelines, people may choose to wear a mask based on personal preference while in South Coast AQMD facilities. Please adhere to the speaker time limit and treat others with courtesy, civility, and respect. Failure to do so can result in your mic being muted or you being removed from the meeting. Lastly, please be aware that this meeting is being recorded. By participating, you agree to authorize recording of audio and visual content presented during the live event and consent to subsequent use of the recording in the public domain by South Coast AQMD.
We will call the meeting to order of the Health Effects of Air Pollution Foundation for Friday, August 11th, 2023. Right now, 11:10 a.m. We've got 20 minutes to get through this. So I'll ask staff to please call the roll.
Senator Delgado,
Here.
Supervisor Hagman,
Here.
Chair Caccioli.
Here. Thank you, Lori. Item number 1 is approved minutes of the March 11th, 2022 meeting. Moved by Hagman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Delgado. Roll call, please.
Senator Delgado,
Yes.
Supervisor Hagman,
Aye.
Chair Caccioli.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Item number 2 is to appoint a new foundation secretary. I'll let our council lady take it.
Yes, this is to appoint a new foundation secretary. Denise Witcher was previously the foundation secretary, but she has retired. And we would be recommending that Lori Langrell be appointed as the new foundation secretary.
The motion is second.
I'll second that.
Is there any public comment? No public comment? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Senator Delgado,
Yes.
Supervisor Hagman,
Aye.
Chair Caccioli.
Yes,
Motion passes 3-0.
thank you. We're going to welcome the inimitable San Bernardino County Supervisor Kurt Hagman as the new director. Okay. Item number 4, update on our current projects funded by the foundation. Sarah Reese, Deputy Executive Officer, Planning, Rural Development, and Area Source.
Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to talk about this 3 projects that are currently active within this foundation. They're the same 3 projects that I talked about at our last meeting in March of 2022. So the first one, impacts of ambient air pollution on the risk and survival of breast cancer in Los Angeles County. This is a project by Dr. Anna Wu from University of Southern California. It's, as its title suggests, it's looking at the impacts of fine particulate matter on incidences of breast cancer in LA County, as well as health impacts on breast cancer survivors and the connection between PM 2.5. This project is just about to wrap up, so we anticipate that we'll be getting a final report later this year on it. The second project I'm talking about is on adverse health effects of volatile organic compounds. This is a project that's looking at the different volatile organic compounds components of PM 2.5 and then those impacts on health. This is a project, this is by Dr. Art Cho of University of California, LA. And this project is to wrap at the end of this year. And then the last project I'll talk about is by Dr. Keith Black from Cedars-Sinai. And this is a project looking at the link between fine particulate matter and Alzheimer's disease. And so it's studying, mice brains and those that have Alzheimer's, and then what happens to those brains and how they further deteriorate when they're exposed to different levels of PM 2.5. This is a project that was supposed to wrap this year. It now is under a no-cost extension through May 31st of 2024.
Any questions for staff? The only question I have is, I brought this up before, I hope when we finish each study, there's a report back to the board, and maybe whether it's in person or remote, they can do a quick presentation.
Yeah, each study is supposed to, as part of the contract, provide us a final report when they're done, so we can talk with the principal investigators and have them come in.
Great, exciting. No vote needed. Number 5, financial report, June 30th, 2022. John?
Good morning, Chair, and good morning, members of the Foundation. Sujata Jain, Treasurer of the Foundation. This item is to report that the Foundation received an unmodified or clean opinion for the fiscal year 21-22 audit. I also have a short presentation on how much contribution the Foundation has received since inception, its expenditures, and the cash balance as of June 30, 2023. Can I proceed with the?
Go ahead.
Thank you. By way of background, the foundation was established in 2003. In fiscal year 08-09, the AQMD board decided, next slide, please, sorry, that in each of the fiscal year, 20% above $4 million received in penalties would go into a restricted fund called the Health Effects Research Fund. From time to time, the AQMD board has used some of these funds to contribute to the foundation for various research projects. And recently, in September of 2020, the board redirected and decided that the 20% above the 4 million would go to the WAM and KIPS program. Next slide, please. So this is just showing a calculation of the 20% above the 4 million and how much has been transferred to the Health Effects Research Fund. That's $13 million, $13.4 million approximately. Next slide, please. And this is just the detail showing the similar thing. And once again, from the restricted fund, how much went into the foundation is about $12.4 million. Next slide, please. And this last slide is just showing the cash balance. And also is showing the outstanding balances for the various contracts that Sarah just talked about. So we have about $1.7 million still left on those contracts, and how much the foundation has contributed since inception to those contracts. And the cash balance at the end of June 30th is about $129 and $326 left after the encumbrances for those contracts. $129,326. Sorry. Thank you, Chair. And that concludes my presentation.
Any questions for staff? See none, you need to vote on this, dude. Nope, okay. We move on to amend bylaw. Item number 6.
Yes, this item is to amend the bylaws of the foundation to reduce the number of fixed directors from 4 to 3. Amending the bylaws require the approval of the governing board and the foundation's board of directors. Governing board approved this amendment on March 4th last year, and this would be the heaps doing that as well.
Just curious, March of last year. So over, what, 14, 15 months, something like that?
Yeah, it's,
You haven't met since then and I'll move it.
Is there a second?
Sorry, I was on mute. Second.
Second, moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Senator Delgado,
Yes.
Supervisor Hagman.
Aye.
Chair Caccioli.
Yes,
Motion passes 3-0.
thank you. Amend the Articles of Incorporation, be again.
yeah, this is to remove the language in the Articles of Incorporation requiring South Coast AQMD be the sole member receiving the remaining assets of the foundation upon its dissolution. And this would be to allow a 501c3 corporation to receive the remaining funds or assets of the Health Effects Foundation upon its dissolution, because that money needs to go from this entity, which is a 501c3, to another entity, which is a 501c3.
Any questions for staff?
Move it.
Moved. Is there a second? Is there any public comment? And there's none. Roll call, please.
Senator Delgado. Senator Delgado.
Yes.
Supervisor Hagman. Chair Caccioli.
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0.
Good. Any other business committee members? Seeing none, item number 9, next meeting will be scheduled as needed. Any public comment? Any public comment? Seeing none. That will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's gotta be.
Turn it in.